You may not ever really be ready. And so this is a terrible thing to wait on. If you're on the path of becoming and you're doing it intentionally and you want to be a version of you that you have never been before, because duh, that's what we're doing, we're becoming, then it's going to require you to do things that you've never done before, be in situations that you've never been in before. And if you choose to wait, you're going to hold up the whole process. You're going to hold up this whole progression. You're going to stunt your growth. You're going to make it all take longer. Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become. Hello and welcome to episode 294 on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me and pushing play on today's episode. This week, we have been focused on the last half of that Dolly Parton quote. She said, "Find out who you are and do it on purpose." This week is all about doing it on purpose, living intentionally, making choices that are aligned with who you are right now and put you on the path of your potential on purpose, intentionally, by design. And today, for this episode, I'm going to give you some guidance on how to do that. So, as we have acknowledged who we are right now, what excites us, what we are leaning towards, maybe the things that are calling to us, the things that are on our heart, we want to move in the direction of acting in alignment with who you currently are and your path of becoming. So the first piece that I'm going to give you is to stop focusing on outcomes. This is a really tricky one because we tend to think that our beliefs are formed by what we see and what we experience. And neuroscience tells us that actually it happens the other way around. We see and experience what our beliefs are. So, if you believe that Utah drivers are crappy, then every time you're on the road and you don't get cut off, you're not going to notice that you weren't cut off that time. You weren't going to notice that everybody merged really well. You weren't going to notice that the person let you in when you put your blinker on. You're not going to notice any of that because you're wired to see things that validate your beliefs. So every time you're in a merging situation and the people don't let you in, you're going to be like, freaking Utah drivers suck so bad. Or you're at a roundabout and somebody goes when it's not their turn and cuts you off. You're going to be like, look, this is more proof that Utah drivers suck. It's not that there aren't people on the road that are great drivers or courteous drivers or whatever. It's just that you don't notice them because your belief is telling your brain and your consciousness what to look for. There's all the science behind this. It's called your RAS, RAS. That's an acronym for something sciencey, reticulator something. I'm not a sciencey person, but I know it's there and you can go find it. So that's how it actually works. So when we are stepping into becoming, when we are on our path of potential, we want our outer reality to validate, to give us proof that we are on the right track. And it doesn't work that way. You actually have to become the person first. So the guidance here is to focus on your identity first. Who are you being? Who are you being in this moment, in the next moment, today, tomorrow? Who are you being? Regardless of what the outcomes are, regardless of what the results are, regardless of what all of your external reality is quote unquote telling you, who are you being? And the more you are being that version of you, the more your outside reality will start to catch up. The more you will start to see where you are, where the proof is, where the validation is, where your brain will tell you, okay, look, it's finally coming together. Like everything is starting to line up. But you have to focus on you being you first. And then the outcomes start to show up. In every crossroads, in every choice, I want you to think about, what does this mean about me? What does this mean about who it is that I am and who it is that I am being? And if you don't like your answer, change your choice so that your answer reflects either who you are currently, who you are proud to be currently, like, I love that I'm this version of me, or if you don't like who you are right now, the person that you are striving to become, and start making those choices in that direction, which leads me very nicely into the second piece of guidance, which is make decisions from that version of you, the person you want to become when you're at those crossroads. What would that version of you choose? Would they follow through on this habit? Would they change this habit? Is this habit something that they would intentionally have established? What choice would they make? What would they choose to think? Where would they put their attention? Where would they put their energy? And the more you make decisions from being this version of you, the more you will actually step into being that version of you. So this sounds a little tricky because we get so in the moment, but this requires you to step out of the moment and into a realm where you are actively creating. You're not in a reactionary or response mode. You are in an active creation mode. What would this version of me choose? And then choose that. Choose that. The other benefit to this too is that when it takes you out of this current moment of the out of reaction, out of response, it also can make any false urgency fade away. It can really clarify what is truly important to you. And it can just take away all the drama from it because you're putting yourself in a different state. And then you get to make an intentional choice, which is the point. The point is to do it on purpose. Make an intentional choice, not a default choice, not a reactionary choice. The third piece of guidance that I'm going to give you is to keep your promises to yourself. This one can be tricky, but you are with yourself 100% of the time. And the more you can trust yourself, the better off you're going to be, because then you know that when you put a task on your to-do list, you're going to follow through on it and you don't have to worry about it. Then you know that you can trust yourself in unknown situations or tricky situations or in circumstances that you've never been in before because you've built this trust with yourself. If you make a promise with yourself, follow through on it, truly, because you being able to trust yourself is going to be the foundation of all of the unknowns on your becoming path. Because becoming intentionally often requires you to do things you've never done, put yourself in situations you've never been in. And that can be frightening. And it can be extra frightening if you're unsure that you can rely on you. So, if you make a promise to yourself, or even a declaration, or even an intention, follow through on it. The next thing that I am going to give to you is the guidance of acting before you are ready. We procrastinate things, we push things off because we feel like we're not ready. We're honestly, it's just fear dressed up in a nice dress. But being ready is something that may or may not ever happen. You may not ever really be ready. And so this is a terrible thing to wait on. If you're on the path of becoming and you're doing it intentionally and you want to be a version of you that you have never been before, because duh, that's what we're doing, we're becoming, then it's going to require you to do things that you've never done before, be in situations that you've never been in before. And if you choose to wait, you're going to hold up the whole process. You're going to hold up this whole progression. You're going to stunt your growth. You're going to make it all take longer, to be honest. And actually, you'll even prolong the pain because then you're in this mode of like anticipation and fear, and you're building it up in your head instead of just doing the dang thing. I love it when my mentor coaches people about doing things before they're ready. They were like, hey, were you born knowing how to ride a bike, or did you, have to learn at some point? And everybody's like, of course, I had to learn it. I wasn't born knowing how to ride a bike. That's ridiculous. And he's like, okay, so you never did it before, but you now know how to do it because you did it. Like, well, yeah, that's how it works. And he's like, yeah, that's how it works. You have to just do it. And then you've done it. And then you can do it again. And then you can get better and better and better. But you have to start. And most times you have to start before you're ready. Don't wait to feel ready. That might not ever come. That is a dumb thing to wait for. Your life is happening right now. It truly is. You don't want to be at the other end of it and be like, man, I wish I hadn't waited till I was ready, because now it's all over. Now there's nothing left. And I don't have any time to try it, ready or not. That's like, ready or not, here I come. Just go. Just try it. Just do it. Start before you're ready. Just get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid off and try it, and then do it again, and then get better at it. That's how it works. That's how it works for everyone. Always. When I recorded my very first podcast episode, it was nerve-wracking because I had never done it before. I wasn't used to being on camera. The whole thing was really scary. I recorded the whole thing. It was so nerve-wracking. And then I went to edit it and I realized I had recorded the whole thing with my mic off. I had no audio. No audio. And I remember getting into the shower, sitting down and just crying because I had just done all of this and it kind of felt like for nothing. And then the next day I came back at it again and I was like, okay, well, now I've done it. Even if I don't have it recorded, I have done it, and now I get to do it better. And that phrase that I said to myself, I have said to myself over and over and over again since then. I've done it before. Now I can do it better. The guidance is to do it so that you can then tell yourself, I've done it before. Now it's not an unknown. And now I get to do it better. The last piece that I have for you is let your repetition build your identity. This is how identity is built. It's choice after choice after choice after choice. And of course, at any choice, you can redirect. You can pivot. You can make a different choice at any time. That's really the exciting part of it. But the more choices you make in the direction of who you are becoming, the more you will step into being that person. In Atomic Habits, James Clear says it this way. He says that every choice is a vote for who you're becoming. And I'm paraphrasing. Every choice is a vote for who you are becoming. So it's not that it's all or nothing, because it's certainly not. You can make, let's just easy math, 10 choices towards who you are becoming. And then you can kind of have a couple of hours that you spent reacting and made 2 choices that maybe the version of you who you want to be wouldn't make. That's part of life. That's part of becoming and being human, because we make mistakes. And sometimes we don't make choices in alignment with who it is that we want to become. So thank goodness it's not all or nothing, because the 10 votes for who it is you want to become still outweigh the other two. And over time, you'll get better at making those choices, casting those votes in the direction of who it is you want to become. That's how it's built, choice by choice by choice. It's never going to be all or nothing. And at any time, like I said, you get to choose differently. So if you don't like what you've chosen up until this point, now's the time to decide intentionally what to choose from here. And then go do it. Go make that choice. Make it before you feel like you're ready. Make it before you feel like you're that person. It will pull you into being that version of you. This week has been all about intentional living, doing it on purpose, being you on purpose, stepping onto your path of potential on purpose. This isn't haphazard. It's not by default. It's not reactionary or in response to something else. This is intentional. It's by design. That means you're going to need to slow down. That means you're going to have to reevaluate things. It means that you might have to get out your journal and do some journal prompts so that you even know what choices to make, so that you can even figure out what choices your future you would make. Because if you don't know, then you can't make the choice. So get the clarity that you need to get. And if you don't have clarity on that, you need to get on my email list. This is one of the most critical pieces, and it can be the trickiest. It can be the most elusive, but you can't become intentionally if you don't have clarity around who that version of you is. So we have to start there. And if you don't know, get on my email list and I will help you figure it out. Until next time, I totally love you. Bye for now.